Okay, I had this is a collection of stories from called Dozen, The Best of Breath and Shadow. Breath and Shadow is a online journal that's from writers who are disabled. And the fiction and poetry does not have to be about disability, but the essays do. And the writers are all disabled people like myself. Okay, and I have an essay in there called The Mute Speak. I'm not going to read the entire essay. Of course, it's pretty long, but I'm going to read a couple of parts of it, including the beginning. Quite often in popular fiction, we meet a character who is able-bodied and can hear but is mute. It's vital to note at the outset that mute in this context means lack of language rather than just lack of vocalization. Sign languages are just as valid as spoken ones, and the deaf community is a very proud, accomplished, and articulate group. Indeed, many deaf people do not even consider themselves disabled, but members of a linguistic minority. However, our fictional hearing mutes do not know sign or another non-vocal communication system, and thus truly lack language. Will they understand it? What do these uncommunicative characters represent? One answer to this question is sexist. Observed Yvette Mimieux, an actress who played such a part, it's probably a male fantasy, a woman who can't talk. But male fictional hearing mutes also appear, usually in horror tales. Irrespective of gender, they are spooky, these strangely silent people. What have they seen? Will they break through that barrier of silence to release what? What secrets are they keeping? The 3 books discussed in this essay answer these questions. Unlike their mysterious fictional counterparts, each of these mute authors is physically disabled. Also, unlike them, they tell their secrets. Okay, the books I discussed, the 3 that I discuss are Stephen Hawking, his book, A Brief History of Time, and Christopher Nolan, who wrote his memoirs in Under the Eye of the Clock, and Ruth Sankowitz Mercer, who wrote a book called I Raise My Eyes to Say Yes. Okay, now, there's a scene that describes how Nolan, in his character, Joseph Meehan, cried once only, about his condition. And he says, the decision arrived at that day was burnt forever in his mind. He was only 3 years in age, but he was now fanning the only spark he saw, his being alive, and more immediate, his being wanted just as he was. Dread-filled, fretting, marked Joseph Meehan's scene that day. But that scene and that day looked out through his eyes for the rest of his life. Comfort came in childlike notions, his clumsy body was his. But molested by mother love, he looked lolling looks at his limbs and liked Joseph Meehan. Okay. Now, and the ending of my essay, I say, a common reaction to the stories of people like Nolan, Hawking, and Sequence Mercer is that they prove that if you really want to do something, you'll find a way to do it. Such quote unquote super cripples are often cited as support for the quintessentially American view that each individual is completely responsible for what she or he does with her or his life. But this is a misguided reading of such people's lives. Stephen Hawking, for all his brilliant scientific achievements, is not an inventor. Had he been born